Alright then, for the last time this season. Hello everyone and welcome to round 18 of the NEF1 Esports Championship Season 8. It is the final and decisive round of this championship then. For a season that's been tumultuous to say the least, but it is coming to an end in Abu Dhabi as it has been over the last couple of seasons, with a short qualifying session and a 50% race. 14 people on the grid tonight. The Constructors' Championship is still up for grabs. The drivers have been settled, but the Constructors is still up for grabs. But Aston Martin at the moment with a big advantage in that championship. About a 30-point gap down to Ferrari in second place. It wouldn't be the first time that Djokovic and Wigan win the Constructors' Championship together. I would believe it'd be the second time, if I'm not mistaken. So, championship heritage for Aston Martin, and they could be preparing for a double, both the Drivers' and Constructors' Championship this season. Matty and Samo will make sure, try to do everything to make sure that does not happen. Noah 48 is out early on track, so is Matty Adams 16. Want to get a feel for the Yas Marina circuit on this game. It's the first time we've gone here. It won't be the last. It will be making a comeback next season, I'm quite sure as well. Some of people coming out then, both the Red Bulls, Suspenclos and Squidge. Also Ipsk Dude, after a couple of weeks of hiatus, is back and running in his very, very green Sauber. As well as JV8, not quite out on track. Yeah, actually is coming out on track just then. So is Djokovic and Wigan. Both the Aston Martins are out on track. So everything's going to be happening rather fast in this short qualifying session. Instead of about an hour worth of qualifying as we usually have, we're going to have 18 minutes to comprise absolutely everything. So stay tuned. It's going to be rapid fire once we come up with about 3 minutes to go. This is going to be a very interesting one indeed. A beat is out there once again, hoping for a good result here in the closing race of the season. Track that a beat is quite handy around, and has been handy around in the past as well. First time we see YPC Tess out on this track in NEF1, worth pointing out. As Noah then for the last time in that McLaren, at least this season, if that doesn't continue over to next season, heading down towards the first chicane, the only chicane on this track now that they removed the triple chicane in Sector 2, which I believe is a bit of a shame. I quite like that chicane, to be honest. So, and it's a corner that you've got to throw the car into with full commitment. The championship back in season was a 6, was decided at that very corner. As we've had an Aston with a couple of issues coming out of turn 1, that'll be Wigan, as Noah's about to cross the line for the first time to finish off the first lap of this qualifying session. What is it going to be? We're looking at about 124 here. It's a 123.752. Decent time for him. And then we're going to have a look at Matty Adams 16, who's going to be next across the line, along with is that YPC Test starting a lap coming up behind him. So Matty Adams 16 comes across for what is a 124.339. So a bit disappointing for him, I'm sure. And Ipsk Dude comes across for a 26.172, so a couple of seconds down. Won't be overly happy with that, I'm sure. Djokovic is going to come around, and we expect to pop him into that P1 slot, and he does so by about a tenth of a second over Noah. Noah's a driver who's massively improved over the last couple of weeks, and Squidge has improved past Djokovic right now, in qualifying at least, up to a 2.5-tenth deficit. Now then, we're looking mainly at this man, YPC Tess, currently sitting down in 13th for his last race in his debut season. It could have ended in championship glory had it started a few races earlier. Wasn't to be this season, but I'm sure it'll be right there in season 9, battling away for the title with Djokovic, with Squidge, with Matty, with Nasi, and hopefully maybe Ondercheck will wait and see who had to leave mid-season due to an injury. We'll hope to have him back within the NEF1 community quite soon. Their style jumps up to 8th place, 125.373. As both Wigan and JV8 are in the pit lane. Jmar comes across for a 23.803. It's a very handy lap by the RB driver. And now then, YPZ test. Is he going to go fastest out of anyone? He's just going to miss out by about a 10th of a second on Squidge. And has himself a P2, but still a very handy lap. Now then, Jay and Wigan, the only people without a lap this session. But that is coming up in the second run. I would imagine then we're going to have three quite distinctive runs this session. We'll wait and see. Said we don't usually run short qualifying in NEF1, so it's a bit of a different treat to commentate. This would usually be the length of a Q1 session, where only 5 places are the ones that you really look at. Now we're looking at every single place, mainly the top ones, but all the way down to 14th. Speedy hasn't had the best of runs for the first lap this session. It's not going to have a particularly good second one either. It's a 10th down on his time. It doesn't improve. 28.119. Looks rather committed to this. I don't know if he's going for another one. We'll find out when the sector split comes in just a moment then. Which will take us past sector 2 as well. As there we go then, past the sector split in just another second then. And is he going to be improving? He is improving by about 0.2 of a second. Which, to be fair, isn't going to do him a lot of good at the moment. He's 2 seconds down on Ipsk Dude, who's 2 seconds down, 3 seconds down almost, on poleman Squidge at the moment. Squidge then, worth pointing out, on provisional pole position. Darren Styles out on track, so is Squidge, so is Hybrid out on track as well, and Beat is going to come across for a 128.254, doesn't improve. I think it's time for Beatty to bin off those soft tires now and got on a set of fresh ones before time runs out here. Spen Close up to P3 right now, and he's on a medium tire. It's curious. As Darren then gets a bit of a tank slap run coming out of the hairpin where the 2021 championship was decided. Obviously Max Verstappen with that really lungy move down the inside of Lewis Hamilton that he apparently didn't even mean to do from what he said in interviews afterwards. Hybrid then just warming up his tyres for yet another run. J-Mars out on track, and so is both Squidge and Tess. Both out on soft tyres, as you would expect. Wigan and Jay as well, worth pointing out, both out on track. Wigan's going to shake things up a bit here, I do reckon. Let's see what Jay's going to be able to do as well. Not discredit him. Jay's actually quite handy around this place, or has been on previous games. So let's see what he's going to be able to do. Wigan up to P7, JV8 up into 12. Fastest teammate past BT, not far off Hybrid, not far off Darren. So that's a handy lap from Jay, actually. Doesn't really show on the position counter, but on the timetable, that's actually quite a handy lap. As here we go then, Squidge 2017 coming up the second sector split in a little bit of time. You're going to be able to gain a bit of time coming out of the chicane if you get the exit right. And that is really controlled from Squidge 2017. Just has a grip of that car every now and again, the Squidge. And coming up to the sector split, he's massively improving, a Squidge 2017. So he is a man on a mission at the moment, and could he be able to claim His first win of the season here in Abu Dhabi for the last race of the season. If I'm not mistaken, Matty did this last season out, claimed his first win on the last race of the season, and that lap has been invalidated, and he just pushed the limits a bit too hard. The question in this then, is it straight into the pit lane for Squidge 2017? Yes, it is. YPC test, what's he going to be able to do? Nothing across the first sector split. J Marvin is on the lap as well in that RB that looks absolutely spectacular around this track, to be fair. Can't fault the look of that car. I would have liked the white to be chrome instead, but what you can fault are those god-awful smoke effects from this game that they've recently put into the game. They've not taken them out, they've put them into the game. So then it is starting to kick off. 7 minutes left to go here, so still quite a bit of time. YPC Tess is coming across the line now. He is improving up to provisional pole position and by margin as well. 22.688. That is good. That is really good from YPC Tess. Or just Tess nowadays. But it's so short, you kind of want to add that YPC on nevertheless. So Tess then up into provisional pole position. 22.688. So this is a steep hill for Squidge to climb now. Djokovic doesn't seem to be able to match that pace at the moment. At the moment he's a full second down on Tess's pace, which is worrying for, well, what is now the crown NEF1 champion, so I'm sure it's not going to be too asked. The main thing for them is keeping the Ferraris behind. At the moment Ferrari doesn't look much of a threat. More like a tame house cat or a donkey instead of a horse. Here we go then, Djokovic up to P3, 23.509. As Matty's coming up to the second sector split. Wow, that was harsh actually what I just said, so ignore that. That's a lot of smoke coming into the corner. That will distract Matty a little bit, but he is improving through that sector. He needs to improve by so much though. Zamo's not improving on this lap. Matty's had a spectacular season, 2 wins as well under his belt this season now. Does improve up to P6, more than half a second's worth of improvements worth taking note of. Hybrid as well, man on charge, improves by 2 attempts going through sector 1. Now let's see what he's going to be able to do through sector 2. Noah's riding his chuff. Almost 4 tenths of a second up on his time, his hybrid 472. So that is good pace from the McLaren man. As we're still awaiting a lap from a BT, I believe he's just about to come across the line for 27.294. Does BT just have a massive lack of pace around here? You've got to wonder. Hybrid jumps up into P9, 24.265, ahead of Zamo, ahead of Darren. And up into the top 10, crucially enough for him. What I'm really curious about is Jamar, unfortunately, didn't get to see his sector split time, which is a bit unfortunate. As Matt is responding to my little bit of sass against Ferrari with a little bit of sass back in the comment. Let's see it. J Marvin is coming into the pit lane. Squidge is out on a lap. That's invalidated. He has 3.5 minutes to do this now, but that's the second time Squidge has invalidated, and that's gonna tell us if he can get a lap in now, it's gonna be quick. He's pushing those limits like you would not believe in. As Ipsdu then is trying to close the gap to his teammate, is at the moment about a second, but he's struggling around this place at the moment. One of the harder tracks to get a grip of really is this Abu Dhabi Yas Marina circuit. So only one car doing competitive running quite soon. That is Wigan, who's going through Sector 2. Once again for his last outing in that Aston Martin. As here we go then, Wigan to start probably what's his last flying lap of this session in that Aston Martin. Last qualifying lap of the season then for Wigan 71, and is he going to be able to make this count? Darren's out as well. He's actually about to come across the line to start a lap. Yes, he is, so we're not going to pay attention to it for a little while, as now everyone is diving out of the pits. Everyone is coming out now. So then we're going to have Wigan come across the line first, and everyone, oh god, all of these laps are going to happen at the exact same time. This is the joy of a short qualifying session. You absolutely love to see it. This is going to be incredibly, incredibly fun to watch. So Wigan then has abandoned this lap, and he's going to go for one more push at the end. Darren, what's he going to be able to do coming up to the sector split now? He's going to have to navigate traffic, but he's committed to this run now. He needs that Ferrari to get out of his way pronto. Does an awkward job doing so. Was Matty Adam actually? Oh, there goes the lap from Darren, and that is going to cause a couple of upsets now. Yellow flags for anyone approaching on a fast lap. Thankfully, not too many. People are beginning their fast laps now. But Darren's stuck. Can't really flip this car around until now. But that might be the end of Darren's qualifying campaign. It ends in P10. He's not going to be able to do anything with those tyres now, unfortunately. Now, I have no clue who's leading this field. Tess has retired in the pit lane, then I believe. Here we go then. Squidge, is he going to be able to match that lap? A 22.688. Squidge through the sector split. He is improving by a massive amount. Now, is it going to be enough? Djokovic is doing everything he can as well. Noah's finished the session in 4th. That is going to be best starting position for him. Best possible starting position for him. Squidge though, with a couple of corners to go, is he going to be able to clinch pole position here in Abu Dhabi? It's going to come down to the very, very few hundreds of seconds potentially. But he does so! Squidge 2017 with a 22.555, and it's quite a decent gap down to YPC Test. Spenclose takes P3. Matty, what's he going to be able to do in the Ferrari for his last qualifying performance of the season? Wiggins about to come across the line as well. What's he going to be able to do? It's going to be P8 for the Aston Martin. P9 for Sam Obama. Matty Adam will not be improving. He's going to be starting this race in 6th, maybe 7th, if Jamar can improve here. Flat out through that penultimate corner. Brake late into the last corner. He's got to improve by a couple of hundreds, and he does so. Jamar up into the top 5 for his last qualifying of this season. That's a good result. Hybrid's not going to be improving. Squidge 2017 takes pole position for the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix, and Tess does everything he can, but it's just not enough on this occasion. Spenclose in P3, followed by Djokovic in 4th, Jamar in 5th, Noah in 6th, Matty in 7th, Wigan in 8th, Samo in 9th, Hybrid in 10th. But wow, if you're gonna pick a time to do it, you pick the last race of the season. That is brilliant from Squidge 2017. Jesus Christ, that is pacey. just went through the top 10 as well. As we can see, Darren just getting knocked out. Just getting knocked out of the top 10 at the end there. 24-5-10, followed by JV8, Ipsdude, that for some reason qualified instead of mediums. I don't really understand that choice. And a BT who qualified in 14th, showing a severe lack of pace, 2 seconds up to Ipsdude in 13th. So a BT is gonna struggle this race if he can't get that pace in order. But then that is qualifying over and done. We'll be going to a quick break whilst we just relax a little after that qualifying session. So don't go anywhere. NEF1 will be right back with the last race of Season 8 in a couple of minutes. Stay tuned. We'll be right back. Alright then everyone, we are back and the ready up has been given. We'll be going racing for the last time this season in just a minute or two, and this is going to be a good one. Yas Marina always produces a good race here in NEF1. Last time we'll be racing this season as well before a little bit of a break in between seasons. Hopefully we're going to have a good Season 9. But for now then, we're going to get this final 18th round of the championship out of the way and to crown ourselves the Constructors' Champions of this season. Is it going to be Ferrari or is it going to be Aston Martin? All signs show Aston Martin at the moment, but anything can happen when that green flag drops. Squidge 2017 takes the formation lap, has pole position in the bag. YPC Tess in the Alpine has to settle for second place. Spenclose in P3, followed by Djokovic in 4th. Jamar with a surprise qualifying effort in 5th. Noah in 6th. Matt in 7th, followed by Wigan and Samo 8th and 9th respectively. Hybrid finishes up the top 10. Darren and JV8 on the 6th row of the grid, followed by Ipsdude and ABT on that 7th and last row. Ipsdude in the Sauber, BT in the Mercedes. Predicted strategies around here is an easy one stop, medium to hard, nothing too interesting this time around, so we'll see what ensues. Looking at the tyres that everyone's wearing, everyone's starting on the mediums inside top 10 apart from Hybrid. We also have Ipsdude and BT starting on the hards further down, as you can see on the left hand side of your screen. Nothing too interesting in terms of tyre strategies around this place. It's going to be pure racing to the checkered flag. "29 laps then to decide the last winner of this season. Djokovic, the driver's champion for the 3rd time in NEF1. Is he going to be able to take a last win this season? Is it going to be Squidge's first win of the season? Is Tess going to continue his good form? Is Spenclose going to nab his prize? Matty is always there this season as well. Jamar and Noah, are they going to be able to take their first wins? For Jamar in quite a while, for Noah his first NEF1 race win. Wigan hasn't won since Canada in season, I believe, 6. What would it do for him heading into next season if he was able to snatch a win out of the bag? We'll wait and see. But here we go then, we're lining up on the grid now. The last couple of cars just slotting into their grid spots. As Squidge is just sat there angled towards YPC Test aggressively to try to cover him off on the start. We have 3, 4, 5 red lights. And it's lights out and away we go, and Squidge gets away well. Tess slightly better, and he's going to come down the inside into the first corner, and that's the better line to take. Slight lock-up from YPC Tess as Squidge goes wide, trying to defend. Tess and Squidge side by side going through the first sector, but Squidge just has that position. Tess has to back out. Spenclose on the back of these two as well. Squidge would love Spenclose to get involved in this little battle with Tess, but he's not going to be able to get it quite done. And the side-by-side still going through the second sector now. And is it going to be one of those moments where we have a side-by-side battle for the first lap completely? Now Squidge Dance looking for a way back on YPC Tess, who's now taken the lead. He's going to come maybe around the outside into the chicane. No, he's not quite going to be able to do. Spenclose keeps out of this little battle, but Tess has the lead of the Grand Prix after lap 1, followed by Squidge, Spenclose, Djokovic and Jamar. Not many changes inside the top 5. No big winners, no big losers. The biggest gainers are all gaining 1 spot here on the start. No one losing more than 1 spot either. So, nice and relaxed start here, but that was a battle between Tess and Squidge on that opening lap, and I have a feeling that this is going to go on a little bit as well. It's going to be relatively hard to shake the DRS around here, but it's not going to be impossible. No DRS for the entirety of that first sector. Oh, big lockup as well for YPC Tess, as his teammates had an issue coming round the Nicholas Latifi corner in sector 3. And Squidge now on the hunt of that Alpine in P1. DRS enabled on this lap, keep that in mind. As Tess locks up again, heading into the hairpin. And now is Squidge going to maybe try something on this back straight. Tess is weaving aggressively to defend here. As here we go, Squidge to the inside, to the outside. What way is he going to go? Not really going to go anyway. Maybe tries to send Tess a bit wide. And that might have worked, because look at the exit that Squidge got compared to Tess. And now, with DRS and a bit of battery, he's going to go past to take the lead of the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix on lap 2. And Squidge is back to where he started. Spenklos is there as well. As he beat now has started to climb places up into 11th. 3 places up, down, 3 places down. Other than that, just look at that left-hand side of your screen. 4 people outside the original starting positions at the moment. That is Samo, Wigan, Beatty and Darren. Everyone else is where they started after 3 laps. That's got to be some sort of record. A smoke is coming off the back of that Alpine every single corner, it feels like. Every single braking zone. I don't know if this is just small lockups or if they're actually bugs. Hard to tell. But it is going to be hella distracting for Spenklos, I can promise you that. Djokovic on the back of this battle as well. As Tess now makes his way past Squidge on lap 3 out of 29. Massive lockup, which allows Squidge maybe a little fight back on the next time. DRS for which of them? Squidge gets the DRS back, and he's going to maybe get the position back as well. Yes, he does. Is Tess going to try to fight that one down the inside? No, he doesn't. Djokovic, however, is trying to fight Spenklos for P3, but he can't quite get past them as of yet. Issues for Darren, issues for BT on this opening stint. Then BT's fallen back by about 10 seconds on both the Saubers. As Jamar at the moment is running with this train as well, so is Noah and Matty. It's only between Matty and Samo that we start seeing a gap form. So there's a train all the way from 1st down into 7th at the moment. They are separated, but let's see how much actually. I don't think it's too much. The top 7 are separated by 2.3 seconds in NEF1 right now. That is insane. This also means DRS train, which is going to be very hard for Sam Obama to get back into now. Everyone's just helping each other along a little bit. As Tess and Squidge goes too wide once again, coming into the middle of Sector 2. And who's going to have DRS on the exit? Wipe C Tess. And now that's going to leave Squidge vulnerable to an attack from Djokovic, who's not going to need a second invitation. Maybe around the outside, but Squidge just holds firm. And puffs of smoke further back. I don't know if that was Matty making slight contact with Noah towards the back there. I'm sure we'll find out in a bit. But everything is kicking off. Meanwhile, Wiggins just putting pressure on Zamo Bamo. As things stand, Ferrari not doing enough to even close the gap in the Constructors' Championship. Aston Martin would be crowned champions of NEF1 once again. As Teston is in the lead of this Grand Prix by about half a second, and Squidge is now getting prepared to do some more attacking. Worth pointing out that the two are on the same tyre strategy as well. As Squidge is just closing up a little bit, not quite by enough on this time round. Matty's right on the back of Noah 48 as well as Noah's just started falling back a little on SFLY Jamar. Not a significant amount, but he's got to start worry. He's gonna start worrying in a couple of laps time. If he keeps losing momentum like this, and will be left out of DRS win lap 1, 2, and that is Samo into the wall, coming into the Nicholas Latifi, or coming out of the Nicholas Latifi corner. And Samo then is now under pressure from JV8 and is going to go straight into the pit lane, I would assume, to fix that front wing. Wiggins up at 8th in the Constructors' Championship is going from bad to worse for Ferrari, now being thoroughly outscored in every way by Aston Martin. Squidge at the moment having the quality pace over YPC Test. Does he have the race pace is the question. Getting closer and closer on the first straight. Is going to wait for the second one. As Jamar has to go defensive then on Noah 48. And the two make contact. Couldn't quite see too much of it. As Squidge now has been able to get past Test for the lead as well, worth pointing out, and Noah sent one down around the outside, of SFLY Jamar into the sweeping left-hander, but it's not quite worked out. Jamar still holds that P5, and whilst they're doing this type battling, Jamar's falling down on Spenclose, and they're really just costing each other time. Instead of running in this train and just waiting to capitalize, they're doing a bit too much battling with each other, and they're losing out. As I'm sure Spenclose isn't really going to mind having that. That is this extra bit of breathing room at the moment as we're entering lap 7 out of 29, then about a quarter of the way through. So Sam at the moment down 13th place, Darren in last, Beat in 12th, Ipsdude in 11th, JV8 occupying the last points paying position in P10 at the moment. What would be his third point this season. Let's see, even Tess at the moment doesn't look to be attacking Squidge 2017 too much. Wonder if he's just holding back a little bit. No point in getting too involved with battling right now. But it's still very close between the top three, then just a slight gap down into Spenclose in 4th, but that is a very small gap indeed. Then over 1 second gap to Jamar, Noah and Matty in 5th through 7th. And Wigan was running a lonely race at the moment, only being slightly accompanied by Hybrid behind him, 1.3 seconds that gap, so it's not too big. And Wigan is going to start feeling that pressure if he can't shake that McLaren. He's running in a solid P8 at the moment as well. Looking at the caliber driver ahead of him, it has to be a respectable P8 as Matty goes down the inside of Noah to maybe try something down his inside. And this is going to turn into a drag race powered by the RB ahead, and Matty with a brilliant amount of straight line speed. Didn't try something late on the race, which would have been spectacular to see, I can't lie. Let's see even if Tess goes slightly more attacking on this run. I don't believe so. No, goes rather passive. Maybe just trying to wear Squidge down at the moment to the point where he can get past and then bolt off. As Matty has gotten past Jamar now as well and free to chase after Djokovic. So Matty's now in the position that he needs to be, ahead of Jamar and Noah. Realistically, I don't think he should be fighting for position this race. I think he should be fighting just a bit higher than that. As Teston, ooh, gets close to Squidge under braking. Thankfully no contact, but it got very close indeed. And Spenclose quite close to the back, oh sorry, Spenclose quite close to the back of YPC Test now as well. And it's, oh, Spenclose I'm sure thought about an overtake there. But he didn't want to get tangled up in anything, I'm quite sure. And now Squidge with a bit of a poor exit. And is that going to allow Test to break away? Very well could. Djokovic is right there as well. Squidge can't allow him to get involved in that little battle, as it's too wide between Spenclose and Djokovic. Djokovic on the outside, Spenclose on the inside. Tends the other way around. Djokovic will have the inside for this braking zone. I'm sure Spenclose is going to have to budge. Nice, somehow holds that. That's good defense from Spenclose. Absolutely brilliant, and Djokovic has to back out of it in the end. That's some good driving between the two. That is some really, really good driving between the two, can't lie. As Matt is right there as well now. 2.3 temps behind Djokovic now, and very much involved in this little battle after falling back just a little bit in the middle of this stint. And Tess is now very close to being able to break the DRS on Squidge, but he's not quite able to do so this lap. Or has he been able to? No, it's just over a second as the DRS commences. The DRS activation points just a bit further ahead. So Squidge still involved in this little battle. Tess, that's what Tess tried, evidently. Just charging up his battery and preparing, cooling down the tires and everything to give it one big push to try to break away. Kind of what you have to do on this game every now and again. Didn't work on that occasion. Now Squidge is right there, 3 temps behind him, and now it's all over again for Tess in the Alpine. Matty's got him past Djokovic somehow. I'm curious to see how that happened. I completely missed it. Matty then past the Aston Martin of Djokovic, which is what he has to do. That's what he has to do now. You need his teammate a couple of places further up. Even if Aston Martin doesn't score tonight, even a win for Matty wouldn't be enough if his teammate can't pick up at least 5 points. That is how unlikely a Ferrari Constructors' Championship is at the moment, but as said, not impossible. Wait and see until the end of lap 29. To summarize this season, but it is looking bleak for Ferrari at the moment. Both the Red Bulls then running in P2 and 3. Spenclose is actually the Red Bull ahead of Squidge. I don't know if the two have switched perhaps. But Spenclose, the Red Bull leading the charge. Squidge at the moment is doing what he can to fend off Matty. And those two Red Bull are now going to deploy a tactic they've done a couple of times and become impossible to overtake by just overtaking each other. Placing their cars in beautiful positions and not allowing anyone to get past them. Matty's going to realize this already. He's been stuck behind this before, and it is incredibly frustrating to get stuck behind something like this. And Squidge and Spenclose are both excellent at doing this very tactic. So then, what that tells me, they have probably released Tess then to go claim this win. It's still early on the race, only just over a third of the way through. As Squidge actually pits, and that's a bit earlier than I was expecting. Djokovic and Noah pits as well, but I didn't think those runs of pit stops would come in until about lap 13-14. That's putting a bit of pressure on Tess as well from Squidge, that with an undercut potentially. See where he comes out. Clear of traffic from the look of things, so he's just going to be able to charge at this. As Matty now is past the Red Bull off Spenclose. So Matty actually going along really well here. 1.5 seconds behind YPC Tess. And Matty could potentially actually start thinking about an undercut. Tess has got to be careful here to not lose 2-minute positions. Beatty's out of race and we have a safety car, and oh my god, that has screwed that has screwed Squidge massively. Oh, and he's going to be fuming with that. He's going to be absolutely fuming with it. That is effectively him down in 6th place now, as ABT suffers from terminal damage inside of this race, coming out of the pit lane potentially, or at least through sector 1, where it is so easy to lose the car if you just turn in slightly too aggressive. BT then becomes the first retiree of this Grand Prix. Matty, 3-second time penalty of multiple track limit warnings, as the top 5 then comes into pit. Let's see if there's some carnage in the pit lane. I believe Matty's actually been held a little bit. He is behind Jamar, behind Spenclose, and behind Tessa. Matty's been relegated to 4th in this due to having that pit lane relatively early on. Or his pit box relatively early on. And as an insult to injury to Squidge, he comes out just behind that Ferrari. So that has flipped this race on its head. Necessarily not for the better. Spenclose now in P2 with Jamar in P3, Matty in 4th, Squidge in 5th, Djokovic in 6th, followed by the 2 McLarens, Jay and Samo. Winning 11th, Darren in 12th, Ipsdude in the pit lane at the moment in 13th and will be last. Fastest lap at the moment goes to Squidge for 26.386. It's actually the fastest by a bit of a margin. About a 1/10 of a second over Noah, I believe. So then, a lot of racing still to go, less than halfway through this Grand Prix yet. And that is devastating news for Squidgeton, who's running a good strategy up to this point, trying to do an undercut on YPC test that for all intents and purposes probably would have worked if it wasn't for this. So no massive winners of the safety car. Maybe you could argue YPC test. One massive loser, that is Squidge 2017. Matty also losing a couple of positions. Still overall plus on his initial starting position, as the safety car then is coming in this lap. That's quite a short safety car. We're on lap 14 at the moment, about to go racing again. So we're going to be restarting this race with half left to go. 14 laps worth of running to decide the issues, or not the issues, I was reading the comments as I said issues. As we decide who wins this final race of the season. God, that was one of the worst commentary blunders I've ever done. So let's just ignore that. Here we go then. YPC Test is going to be controlling this restart. Is going to go at not quite any point now. As now then the safety car is in the pit lane, and now Test can decide when he wants to leave. And you would imagine it's coming out of this corner. Oh, that's almost a half start from YPC Test there. As Close follows him round, and the race is restarted on lap 15 out of 29. So then, Tess, Close, Jamar, Matty and Squidge all inside the top 5. Djokovic just outside, hunting down Squidge for P5 at the moment. And we are having a very close second half of this season. All the way down to basically P7 and P8 are highly contested every single race. And a couple of shocks in every final finishing position. As for some reason it still says safety car on the top left hand side of your screen. So just ignore that. We're not on the safety car. Green flag, racing conditions apply. Matty round the outside of Jamar. It's not going to work around there. Need a massive tire advantage in order to make that viable. Talking about tire advantage, 2 people at the moment have them. It's Hybrid and it's Ipsk dudes. Let's keep track of what they're going to be able to do. And looking at something slightly worse than tire advantage is a time penalty, and only one person in the race has that at the moment, and that is Matty Adams 16 with a freezing time penalty for multiple track limits excursions. YPC Test, that's the fastest lap of the Grand Prix so far. As then Jamar well and truly in the smoke screen of Close. Close actually quite close to the back of YPC Tess. But a Test that's looking rather relaxed right now. DRS will have been re-enabled as well. Close driving really well at the moment, so is Jamar in that RB. You do wonder if Jamar was to be put up against YPC Test, what he'd be able to do. So here we go, man. Squidge on the back of Matt. Is he going to be able to make anything work? No, not quite. Close maybe just has a little look on YPC. Test to get very close to each other in that chicane. And now, Close is within touching distance of the race lead. DRS is open. Let's see how much it deploys. Tess goes to the outside. Close maybe to the inside. Sends one down the inside of Tess. Slight contact. Tess maintains the position. Close, is he under threat from Jamar now? No, he is not. It was worth a go. Didn't quite work out. Ips, Dude, and Jay doing battle at the rear of the field as well. 2 teammates. Neither of them in a points paying position right now. Oh, a Squidgen's making his way round the outside of Matty. Turns to the inside. That was just interrupted. That was a cheeky little move from Squid. Sheriff Spenclose trying to have a cheeky little move around the outside of Tess. A Tess that backs out. Spenclose is your new race leader on lap 18 out of 29. About 10 laps to go then. Spenclose has to lead this Grand Prix, followed by Tess and Jamar. And wouldn't that be something? A Spenclose win to round out the season. I'll get my heart racing. I don't know about you, but I'd sure love to see a Red Bull on the top step of that podium this season. Tess in second, Jamar in third. Running in podium places as far away Jamar at the moment. That's really good upswing on pace. As the train forms behind Spenclose then on the inside of the track. No one wanting to concede that slipstream. Oh, and J-Man now is trying to make his way past YPC Tess, who suffers a bit of contact with Matty and J-Man potentially. Matty now goes past Tess. Spenclose and J-Mar are now free to battle it out for the lead of this Grand Prix. And is J-Mar going to try something around the outside of Spenclose? No, he doesn't. Matty and Tess involved in battle through that final corner in Sector 2, or the first corner in Sector 3, I should say. And Matty has that place. Tess now in fourth, from being first just a lap ago, down into fourth place. Slightly worse lap from YPC Tess, and he got caught out. Still a long way to go, but Spenclose's chance of winning this race just increased by a rather large amount. I would not count out SFLY Jamar from that chance as well. Matty Van down the inside, maybe of SFLY Jamar? No, has to think about it, but doesn't do it. Could have absolutely done it though. Once again, DRS train from first down to sixth. As Matty tries something around the outside of Spenclose, as Jamar goes down the inside of Spenclose and takes that place. P1 then to Jamar. Now is Spenclose going to try to come back at him. Don't think he has enough juice to really do something. Maybe down the inside. He's going to try to do an aggressive launch from Spenclose. Just tapping the back of Jamar's rear left tire. But Jamar has to lead the Grand Prix event from Spenclose. Matty, Tess in fourth, Djokovic in fifth, Squidge in sixth. And Squidge at the moment is the driver that really wish he would have been fighting at the frontier, because he might be the driver with pace to break away from this pack. Now, I would assume that this pack is going to remain like this to the end of this race. We have one big train from first, sixth. Then we have both the McLarens running in a race of their own in seventh and eighth. Then we have a small battle with Wigan and Zamo, 9th and 10th. Then Jay, Darren and Ipsctude running closer together down in the last couple of non-points paying positions. Spenclose then, what's he going to be able to do about that lead of SFLY Jamar? He's going to want that rather soon, you would imagine. And it's going to come to him rather soon. As there goes YPC Tess, maybe with a full battery as well, charging down the inside, ghosting for whatever reason, is a lot of cost. Let's hope this doesn't end an absolute carnage. YPC Tess with an absolutely, that one of the most aggressive moves I've ever seen. And now Spenclose is going to come back at him round the outside, heading into the first corner of Sector 3. I don't know the corner numbers, which is why I'm calling it that. And he's going to be able to hang around the outside, which turns to the inside, and you can't defend around the outside around this place. But how naughty is he going to be? Rather naughty on defense, Spenclose. Tess has to cede. And now Spenclose, Tess, Jamar, Matty, back to the order that we had a couple of laps ago. That was aggressive from Tess. Really, really aggressive. Jamar's looking bitey this race as well. On for a podium. If I'm not mistaken, would be his first podium of this year. Which I believe would be RB's second behind maybe Iwat's win back in Silverstone. Test now on the back of Spenklo, see if he's interested in making a move on this main straight. I don't think so. As Tess is getting closer and closer, and will he be within striking range? Come the braking point, yes he is, but he just falls behind and has to stay behind for another lap unless Spenklos makes a mistake heading into one of these corners. But he's quite relaxed from the look of things right now, Spenklos. Lap 22 out of 29. It might come down as well to an ERS game on the last lap, and that's something the Spenklos has got to be wary of in order to not get pounced on in that final go. So then, once again, close between what is now the top 7 as Noah's joined that party, leaving teammate Hybrid behind. And this is turning into a very, very good final race of the season. As there we go, Tess has made it past Spenklos for P1, as I was kind of caught up watching really nothing for some reason. Tess then into the lead, and is he now going to be able to break away from Spenklos, which would be a shame because we want this battle to go down to the very last lap. I would assume Tess has no interest in making this interesting. Jamar and P3 still holding off Matty well. Crucially for Squidge, both Matty and Djokovic with 3-second time penalties, which will promote him to P4 at the moment. Still a decent finishing position. Djokovic in 6th, Matty in 5th would be the end result. Actually no, because you have Noah there as well, don't you, and take those two positions. Djokovic would be 7th, Matty would be 6th. If the race was done now. Yellow flags in Sector 1, that's an Alpine who's had a problem. Darren Styles Spenklos just taps the back of the other Alpine of YPC Tess, and now it's going to go for another go down this back straight. Is he going to be able to make a move around the outside? Perhaps. He's going to try. He just has that slight nose cone ahead. And he does get that position in the end. Spenklos back up into the lead of this Grand Prix, and YPC Tess is right there, and so is SFLY Jamar. And I'm sure Spenklos is trying to entice a fight between those two. A little bit of lag there from Spenklos or Tess. It's hard to tell really every now and again, but I think that's Spenklos. What is that going to do for YPC Tess in this battle is the question. Five laps to go this season. As Nassi's pointing out that Jamar's looking like prime Max Verstappen out on track today, and I kind of agree he is. 5 laps to go of season 8, everyone. Jesus Christ, this is going by quick. I still remember doing commentary on my first race in NEF1 back in season 1. It was Singapore on that day. Singapore round 3 of season 1. Here we are 8 seasons later. 8 seasons and 4 years. 4 different games, 4 calendar years. It's absolutely mental. As I do apologize about the prolonged moments of silence, my voice is slowly starting to fade away. As I am falling a bit ill, so that's why I'm silent every now and again, just letting my voice recover. Because I'm sure it's gonna get hectic on those last couple of laps. Spenclose is going to have a hard time defending this. Yas, is he going to leave his shot at an overtake for the last lap? Wait and see. He's getting close to the Spenclose, but he's getting closer quite passively. Matty trying around the outside of Jamar, just desperate to do something, but he's kind of locked into that situation, and I don't think there's much Matty can do apart from maybe try to stick ahead of Djokovic, his championship rival for this season. Now it doesn't look like much of a rivalry, but Matty fought valiantly in that battle, and now another 3-second time penalty brought him up to 6 seconds. Which is going to relegate him quite far down the order come the checkered flag. And Spenclose has got to mind that last lap now, because I believe that is what most people behind him have started to do, realizing that this is kind of like, this is going to turn into Daytona. When one goes, everyone else is going to have to go. If you've ever watched a Daytona 500, there's one moment where a car pulls out a lane and starts going for moves, and that's when everything kicks off. And Spenclose here, I don't know if he's almost just surrendering the lead to Yas. It kind of looks like it, because Yas is now in the lead. Spenclose though is doing battle with Jamar, and that's not what Spenclose would have needed. Down 3 places in 1 corner, and now Jamar is in position to maybe do battle with Tess here. Matty, how involved does he get in this? Contact between Matty and Jamar. That's going to set everyone back. That is going to be brilliant for Yas. Spenclose is back up. Yas now with 1 second advantage. That is probably what needed to happen, and this has probably decided this race in terms of a victor. I can't see it now going to anyone but Yas. Matty in P2, but he's going to lose so many positions on that time penalty. I don't really understand what just went on. Jamar aggressively defending versus Matty. Matty aggressively attacking Jamar as well. The two just locked together, and it caused all sorts of carnage behind them, ending a really interesting battle for the lead, actually, that I would have liked to see play out naturally. I don't think we're going to be able to do so. 2 laps to go now, and Yas heading to yet another victory this season. Matty in P2 is not even going to finish on the podium. Most likely going to be settled between Spenclose and Jamar nevertheless. I think Spenclose realizes that. He doesn't look overly interested as Djokovic goes really deep into the chicane. That's actually quite good news for Matty. If Djokovic has a stinker, which he has had, trying to get back on track, and that's actually proven quite well for Matty, who now is clear of Djokovic, for at least for the time being. But I think Spenclose realizes that his battle's no longer for the win, it's for P2, and sticking behind Matty for another lap is quite a decent shot at it. Squidge, unfortunately, 3-second time penalty is not going to do him any favours in regards to Matty's penalty. This actually turned out quite well for Matty right now. Might just skip by in 4th. Ahead of Djokovic, but it still will not be enough, unfortunately, for the Constructors' Championship. That is going to be decided in about 4 miles. As YPC then has not dominated this race, has always been there, has always looked relatively in control, even if he's been behind, but now got an opportunity with a bit of contact and took advantage. As here we go, Spenclose and Jamar for maybe the last battle of this season, realistically. Oh, Spenclose makes contact with the back of Matty Adam just ahead of him. Spenclose versus Jamar. This is probably the last battle for position we're going to see this season. Who is going to emerge victorious of this one? I believe it's going to be Spenclose. Tess is going to come home to take the final race of this season. A season that has been difficult for us in NEF1. It actually feels somewhat good to round it off like this with a really good race, a really clean race from mostly everyone, or almost everyone. YPC Test then is going to come home to finish a brilliant rookie season in P1, 4th in the standings after completing just over half the season. It's been a brilliant season for the man. Matty comes home in P2 to take P2 once again in the driver's standings. Unfortunately, Ferrari are not going to get there in the Constructors, and we do have it now officially. We can crown the Constructors champions of Season 8. It is none other than Djokovic and Wigan and Aston Martin once again. Spenclose comes home to take P2 in this race. Jamar takes a brilliant podium, must be set in P3. Matty in 4th, Squidge in 5th, Djokovic in 6th, Hybrid in 7th, Wigan in 8th, Samo in 9th, and Noah 48 in 10th after disappearing a little bit towards the end of that race. JV8 comes home to finish in 11th, followed by Ipsdude in 12th, Darren in 13th. Looking at the fastest lap goes to Darren Stahl this race, so an extra point to Alpine, which might help them out in the Constructors' Championship, but I don't think so. I think Red Bull have just got that P4 secure. But what an end to the season that has been. Djokovic then emerges as a 3-time NEF1 champion at the end of this season. A multiple-time Constructors champion as well. Wigan wins another Constructors championship, and that might be his 4th or 5th even. So he's really, really good at picking those up. We'll have to stat track that later on for next season's pre-season reveal. But what a final race of the season. At a game that's been up and down, to say the least. It is nice to end it with a race like that. YPC Test, well-deserved winner in that final race. With Spenclose in P2, that's going to feel good for him to end the season on a high. And Jamar as well, carrying good momentum through into next season, and I'm sure with a podium this season. So, and in there we can see 25 points, yet another, once again, goes to YPC Tess. Spenclose with number 18. Jamar, 15 points is going to send him up the order. Matty in 4th, Squidge in 5th. It's your top 5. Darren picks up a point in 13th for fastest lap. Noah with sole point in P10. Aston Martin are then the Constructors' Championship winners of Season 6. So congratulations to both Djokovic and Wigan for a fantastic campaign. Wigan with a brilliant season. Djokovic, once again, no one can match him when he gets into a mood like this. But that is going to be it for another season of NEF1, guys. 8 seasons through. 8 seasons through this league now. We're quickly coming up on that 10th season mark. 1 season to go until we get there. On F1 25 is going to be season 10. But another season on F1 24 to go. Season 9 is coming up in a couple of weeks, so stay tuned for news on that. Sign-ups are going to open really soon, so all the drivers stay tuned for that as well and get your seats confirmed. We are going to be bringing in quite a couple of new faces for next season as well. So it's going to be an interesting season to say the least, and hopefully the best in terms of quality that NEF1 has had. Once again, to everyone who's been watching this season, I want to give you a massive thank you and a massive shout out as well to a couple of people in particular who tune in every single week to share on your favorite drivers who aren't actively involved in league even, but you still tune in and week out and support us. It means the world to us, the rest of the admin team, and the league as a whole. So thank you very much for that. Right then, that is going to be it for Season 8 of New Era F1 Esports. Stay tuned for Season 9, which is coming up in not too long, hopefully. We'll get back to more news on that shortly. But until then, thank you so much for watching. Stay safe, everyone. Have a good one. Djokovic, congratulations on the Drivers' Championship. Aston Martin, Djokovic and Wigan for the Constructors' Championship. We'll see you once again in Season 9. Stay safe, have a good one, and peace out.